Doesn't work. Oh, oh, no, it didn't. Yeah, and we'll get it.
We all know what it's like to feel disillusioned, right? All that's something we all have in common in various points of our life, in various different ways. We all feel disillusioned, right? And the hardest thing about being disillusioned, and I think one of the hardest things when we are younger, is a sense of powerlessness. That things seem so much bigger. What can I do? Where do I fit? Right? And this sense of powerlessness can lead to a spiral, right? Which can lead to, as a mental health professional, depression, anxiety, and all these horrible things, because we don't know that there is an end to it, right? But why, if you think about it, is it irrational for you to feel disillusioned? No. There are many things that are happening right now in this world currently, wherever you are, from you, whether you're in this room or another part of the country or another part of the world, right? There are things happening externally, right? In your community, and even internally, your own personal struggles. What gets you up in the morning when things are tough, right? So there are many reasons to feel disillusioned, but what about hope? Is there any reason to have hope? My martial art instructor, and one of the things I hold on to when we talk about the issue of change, he says, if you want to learn fast, move slowly. And if you want to learn slowly, move fast. That change happens incrementally. As a person who's trained many years in the martial arts, and many of you have played probably sports and things like that, how do you know you're growing? When you feel almost a sense of boredom in practice. Because it's repetition, 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 repetition until you become a master, until you master, right? But hope, like all these things, moves slowly, right? So I say move small, or move small, envision large. It's about each step, it's about each day. There are many systems in our lives, right? And this could be the portion that we think can be insurmountable, right? How do I change a system that's so much larger? And the systems don't want to be changed. Shocker, right? They don't want to be changed. They're set up in a way, that way, to function as a system. They function exactly how they're supposed to function, okay? But what I would like to encourage you to think about is that systems don't necessarily have to change. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. In order to change a system, you don't have to dismantle, get rid of the entire system. That is huge. But if you could change one aspect of it, one frame, one cog in the system has to adapt to that change. And naturally what happens is the system changes. It's through these small initiatives, these small things. So I ask you and encourage you to have hope. Yes. So, well, actually, as they're fixing this, it reminds me that sometimes even sometimes we have to be even young to administer the type of hope that we have, because you might not even in your youth see the results of what you put forward. But that's not what we're doing, right? We're not doing it just for ourselves. We're doing it for the people that are behind us, people we don't even see or know. There's this saying that I hold on to, and I think it's beautiful. I saw it somewhere. I think it was in a quote or even in a TV show. It said that great people plant seeds knowing that they'll never sit under the tree that they planted. They'll never benefit from the shade that they planted, right? But that's all I'm doing. I don't know. Do you have any?
So, going up.
So, thank you. Yes. One of the things I think is important is okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay, here we go. One of the things I actually wanted to mention is that the hope actually there's actually hope research out there. And there's actual real biology aspects of hope. So this neurologist found that we imagine positive future outcomes, the brain reward system lights up, similar to the reaction of love, laughter, or even a good meal. Hope changes our emotional chemistry. It tells the brain it's worth trying. And if it's worth trying, then it's worth trying again, right? That in reality, hope literally reshapes our neural pathways. The idea of hope. In times of stress, people with higher hope scores better are able to regulate their emotions. They're more creative problem solvers. They're less likely to give up. Okay. In one study, people with navigating poverty, trauma, and racism, researchers found that hope was a stronger predictor of future success than even intelligence or social economic status. Okay. A strong predictor of this is the ability to imagine, the ability to hope. So, because hope moves things forward, hope moves people forward. What does this mean? Hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is a verb. It's an action. It's something we do. You don't have to be fearless to be hopeful. Okay? If anything, they almost kind of go hand in hand. But I do suggest that hope does require you many times to be courageous. Because it is courageous. And for some of you, courage might be taking on a system, and for some of you, it's courageous enough for you to get up in the morning, because sometimes that can be difficult, right? You just do a tiny belief in something beyond what you cannot see, right? It can be contagious. In our optimism for something more, we give permission to others to think of something better. We are the product of the hope of our ancestors. Think about this. We talk about generational trauma, right? And it's a real thing. Inherited trauma that we pass on from generation to generation. So let's say that, let's flip it and say, can we also have generational hope? We are the product of the struggles of our ancestors. You are, in many ways, right? You are here because of the hope of the people before you. You are, in many ways, your ancestors' biggest dream. Something they couldn't even imagine. That their struggles, that their victories are inherent and still a part of your DNA. So push it forward. And guess what? When you hope out loud, when you share your dreams, when you name your goals, when you choose to believe again, you give someone else the courage to do the same. Hope can be contagious. People learn from others. I coach a lot. And one day I was coaching my soccer team, and my captain was very frustrated and was screaming at the players. And I pulled him aside and I told him this. I said, you know how you know you're in danger in a plane? He said, how? I said, I don't worry about the plane. I don't worry about how the plane moves. What I do is I look at the stewardesses. If they panic, then I know I'm in trouble. But if they're calm and they think that this is just another day on a flight, then I know things are okay. That is, to be a leader, sometimes in your courageousness is to remain calm. It's to show others that we have this under control. Right? I'm going to leave you, for those literary nerds, with some wise words from Samwise Gamgee and from the Lord of the Rings, which I find very applicable at this time. If you remember the story, there's this portion of the story in which they're in complete disillusion, disarray. They think everything around them is falling apart. There is no purpose anymore. And the hero of the story has given up, can no longer take the burden of it. And he hears this from his dear friend. It's like the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered, full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could they be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad has happened? But in the end, it's only passing. Things is shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it all shines out the clearer. I know now folks in these stories had lots of changes of turning back. Only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. That's their good, that there is good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. So the question I ask for you is, what's worth hoping for? What do you hope? Where do you fit? And you really don't need much. All you really need sometimes is just a click. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Hector for that amazing presentation. And, I think we can all agree that hope isn't always obvious. And it being a conscious action that we all have to engage in is so important, especially for youth development. For our next panel, we are going to have Bridging the Gap from Academia to Career. So it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Ellie Van Dam and Ali Mustafa.
For myself. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth day of the International Youth Conference, for the last day. And as you know, that there is last day is focused on the career development. As we speak right now here in the room and also online, we have a panel session going on by the careers at the United Nations, by the United Nations Institute of Training and Research. And in this room, we are going to have a conversation on bridging the gap between